everybody. This is Painting with Michael Mills. My name is Michael Mills. I'm a self-taught artist. I have learned from other artists, books, trial and error, making my own mistakes, and I'm going to share with you how to keep art simple and fun. Today we're out at Thunderbolt Fisherman's Seafood. It's just outside of Savannah. If you're heading towards Tybee Island. I painted out here before. I love this location. It's a great old seafood building right on the water here. There's lots of contrast, variations in color, and so today that's what we're going to paint. So I have a primary color palette. I'm going to be using cadmium yellow, and then next to that we have alizarin crimson. And then we're going to have ultramarine blue. And so I'm using a dark red because we have some rust on the building. And I just feel like that'll mix well. And as always, I like to sketch with my ultramarine blue. And then I have a transparent red oxide that I use to sketch with. I do have some guest colors today. I have a bright blue teal. I have deep cad yellow. It's almost an orange color. And then I have an unbleached titanium white for some of that concrete. And I think that you'll find that that helps things go nice and smooth for you. And I like to have my glove on my left hand with a paper towel. I like to feel the brush in my hand. I got my apron too, which I use the pockets quite a bit. Plus it makes my wife happy. I don't ruin as much clothes. So, you know, happy wife, happy life. Sure you've heard that before. I also have liquid on here that's a medium to help your oils dry faster. So it'll dry in a day or two versus a week or 2 weeks. And then I just have some odorless paint thinner, Mona Lisa right here. So when I sketch, I like to have a real light wash, something that's kind of soupy. I don't want it too watery because it'll run all over the place. And so I like to do like a real light sketch first. I also have the canvases tinted. I just kind of do that in an orange tint that I make. It almost looks peach. And I like to do that so as I paint, if little pieces of the canvas show through, there's at least some color and it's not stark white. Now we're painting a snow scene, that may be good, but today we're going to go with a tinted canvas. So I like to do is use my brush as a measuring tool. So I'm going to look at the tallest point of the building and I'm just going to transfer that there and get my angles that I want. And so use your brush as a measuring tool. And I think I'm going to go ahead and get the top of the roof right there. Bottom right about here. It's a little dark, so I'm going to lighten it up. I'm not using any white. I like this color combination because it also makes a black. I do have ivory black just in case I want to keep, get my angles here, just in case I want to use some dark and I need to get something darker than I have on my palette. But usually this works. That's kind of like an emergency backup color. So I'm using the brush to get my angles. And this is such a great old building to paint. Call me crazy. I like painting the old rusty buildings here. Some great shadow lines. It's a great old building. If you've never been to Thunderbolt, it's a pretty cool place to come here. Also make sure I get the shadow in there. Want to mark an indication on that. So I go here. So I go boom. Getting this dock drawn out here. And I like go right to the edge of the dock here and paint some of this this crumbling concrete here. It used to be part of the dock. All right, we got these pillars here. Normally you'd think we would do the background and get that all drawn out. I normally do like to get a horizon line, but this roof right here is gonna almost act as my horizon line, so I know where it's gonna be. These, what a great old building. These old pillars, stories they could tell. Years and years of fishing out here. There we go. Got a little bit of grass up here. There's a little puddle right here. I like to have that with a little bit of reflection. Keep that. Now the shadow itself, it's like it's going to extend a little beyond the building. Come to a point here. So I did this painting, and it was part of a art competition, and I had an hour. Oh, made a boo-boo on my sketch, so I'm going to go ahead and scrub that out. So I love working this way. And right here, now I'm going to go ahead and get the water's edge right there. There's the grassy area right there. We have a couple lines of trees right there. There's a little gap of some land right there. And then the trees here, barely above the roof right there. So that's our basic drawing that we're going to do. Scrub some of that out. And so now what I like to do, normally when I'm out plein air painting, that's what we're doing today. It's French term for painting outdoors. So once I get my sketch in, usually I'll lay out my colors, give this a few minutes to dry, because this actually will dry in just a couple minutes with the liquid and the paint thinner. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mix my colors up. Now I do have this shadow color here. I'm going to go ahead and keep using the mixture that I had for drawing this out. And I only like to use about 10% liquid because it will not alter the colors. Then we got a rust color I'm going to put right next to it. And I'm going to use a little bit of that crimson. So this is a bright blue, crisp winter day. And so you want to make sure you have a little bit of sky color in everything. And I'll mix that in after I get the sky color mixed. I'm going to use that, that bright teal turquoise for that. And so I got that. I don't want to waste any paint, so I'm going to go ahead and just scrub some of this in here. Because this oil paint ain't cheap, right? There we go. Scrub some of that in. There we go. Love that shadow line right there, right at the edge of the roof. There we go. All right. So now I'm going to get into the sky color. This radiant teal. I think that's the actual color name. I'm going to add a little bit of liquid to that. And I need to make a pretty good sized pool. So when I'm out painting, a lot of times I'll have a hat on. The sun's not bothering me too much. We have direct light on the canvas. I could also shade my eyes just to check. The other thing when you're painting plein air is you don't want to wear a white shirt because that light will bounce off the canvas and that'll affect your color. So now I'm going to get into some of this watercolor. I'm going to add, it has a little bit of that teal, that sky color in it. And I mix that with some of that transparent brown. Here we go. Right there. And I may use some of the sky color to get some of that reflection. See how that looks. And we'll go back over. Like I said, I'm cleaning the brush. I don't want to waste any paint. And isn't this gorgeous being out plein air painting like this? I absolutely love this. This is one of my favorite things to do. Now I'm going to make that concrete color. And I am going to use a little bit of that sky color with the unbleached white. We're going to get all our colors mixed up so we can just go right at the painting. Now if you look, those pillars that are there, they have a little bit of a green tint to it. So I'm going to make a pool of green. I still have some of that sky color that was on my palette knife. It's in everything, I'm telling you. Here we go. We're going to mix up a green that we were going to use partially in the background for the trees, and then we will actually use some of that green on the pillars. It's almost like a blue, green, brown mix. Isn't that great? All right. So we got like a dark green, going to fade that to a lighter green, which I'm going to pull some of that sky color. If you get your composition down and you get your colors right and you can draw basic shapes, you can do this. So let me check the color here. So it's going to be my mid color in the trees here. Again, don't want to waste any color. Let's clean my palette brush. Here we go. And then we have that grassy area. That I want to kind of make a little bright. So I'm going to use some of that orange and a little yellow. Just a touch of the blue. I'm going to add some sky color to that. Yeah, I like how that looks. That looks really good. Make sure I don't forget my liquid so everything will dry. Hope you're getting a good angle on this here. So I'm using a 16 by 20, actually a 16 by 12 canvas. That's a little green. I'm gonna add some orange. This is a fun size canvas to paint on. If I come out here and paint this again, I may use a wide profile canvas. Let me see that. This is also, when you go to clean your palette knife, a great way to test your colors. So I do like that right there. So what I like to do is I like to paint thin to thick. That's very important. So I'm going to do dark to light, thin to thick. So I want to keep this wash going like we sketched with and get all these dark colors in. And it's kind of almost like a block in. And it's going to be kind of blue. There we go. There's nice shadow colors there. There we go. And we do have a Facebook page. I hope that you would share some of your paintings on the Facebook page. We can all learn from each other. Okay, then I got the shadow here on the building. That's a little red, don't like that. So I'm gonna scrub that out. The red will be fine for rust, but I'm looking for that bluer color for the shadow here. There we go, like that. And if we look, this whole, well, there's one part I do want to hit with this dark brown. I'm actually going to add a little bit of that ivory black. Is the water line here is very dark. Make sure I get that established. That'll change a little bit as I paint. There's a little fishing boat going by. And we got some areas in the trees here. that are dark. And I'll go ahead and do that now. I'm gonna add a little bit of purple on that, because that grass has a lot of yellow in it, and that's a complementary color. So that complementary color will make the grass pop out, like right there. I like to leave little gaps so I can come back and fill them as I go along. There's a little grassy area there. I like to have these little grassy areas. And that's in the background. Just kind of cleaning my brush. Little indication. It is dark right there. I like that. Right on the roof line. Those trees are dark. All right, set. So I'm gonna clean my brush, temporarily done with the green. So now I'm gonna go ahead and get this shadow in. I'm gonna add a little bit of sky color because it is a little brighter. Let's see how that, I'll add a little more blue and brown to that. Make it a hair darker. Yep, I like that. And I want to drag some of these colors you see there. And remember, it's your painting, doesn't have to be exact. The goal is really to have fun. That's what we want to do. So we're up on an elevated angle, so our vanishing point is probably going to be somewhere over here. So you want to check your vanishing point on your roof lines and everything else. And I am really liking this. So we're still painting thin right now. There we go. And that's a dark area. Add a little blue to this here. Always make sure I'm taking a step back. Now I'm going to get that roof, and that is a tin roof, rusty, and I want to make sure we get that color in. This will be the under color. I'm going to add some of the shadow lines and rust on that. I'm going to wipe that down a little bit. Kind of rub it into the canvas. That helps speed the process up. I like that. And then we're gonna the face of the building has this white outline and shadow. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure I get that in. And so at this point, you can call this the blocking in stage, just blocking in color. I'm gonna get the sides here. There's a little window here. Make sure I add that. There we go. Yeah, this is a great area to get out and do some plein air painting, and I hope you can visit sometime. Love for you to hit us up on Facebook, let you know where you're at. Now we're going to hit some of this sky in the water. I think you'll see the painting really start to come to life. So I was using my round brush. I'm now going to a flat brush. I'm going to take a step back before I get too into this and make sure everything looks good. Okay, I think we're good. I'm going to go a little more liquid. I want to add a little paint thinner there. Love this turquoise. This bright teal turquoise. Such a bright, happy colors. Reminds me a lot of the Midwest. Sometimes you get those crisp blue skies that really just is so bright it does look teal. So I'm adding a little white because as we get closer to the horizon line, it does get brighter. Get right on that tree line. And it's very subtle, but it is brighter. So the sketch I was doing, majority of it is dry. Or the sketch that I did to start us off, our composition sketch and a mini value study. So that's dry, and so I can go right over this. There we go. And sometimes, most times I may add another layer of color just to make it pop a little bit. So we'll see how that looks here in just a minute. Now the one thing I do like to do, and I didn't do that, is I like to add a little bit of orange to knock down the chroma of the sky. So it is a little bright, and I'm going to go ahead and just get a layer of a little bit of orange mixture in this, just so it's not so stark. And it does subtly change the color. There we go. Very subtle. But when you're finished, you will notice. All right, here we go. Now we're going to get in the water. I'm going to keep that sky color on. And I'm going to hit in between these pillars. I'm going to keep pushing down and sideways. And at this point, we're just blocking in color. There we go. One of my friends I paint with, she always makes fun of me. So we're just blocking in color, blocking in color. This is when it really starts to come together. Get a lot of paint on that. Like how the water is under here, under the old concrete here. It gets a little bit darker here. So we are just scrubbing in a background color, and we're going to paint a little bit over it. So close to the edge here, the water's a little muddy. So I want to add a little green to this watercolor. I'll pull that down. Go sideways with that. This is the undercolor here. And I'm going to get some of that dark blue, darken this closer to me here. I make sure this pillar goes all the way down. This one right here. So I'm going to go ahead and get that in real quick with my drawing colors here. So there's a little pillar there. It's a dark one here. I'm going to add some blue and black to that mixture. A little liquid. I love all these little pops of color and shadowing. That's what makes this interesting. The light and the dark, the contrast. There we go. Go back over that. And so this point, literally, we're just blocking in color and filling in our canvas here. All right, done with that. So I am gonna go back, clean my brush, and we're gonna go into this concrete color that we made. And I'm gonna get the concrete here. There we go. So if you get your colors right, it'll really come together. Don't have to do a whole lot, because we're going to go back with a finishing brush as well. It's got a little bit of that sky color, and it's got that unbleached titanium, which is like an off-white color. Okay, and it kind of runs here. Then we kind of have a little rocky area out front here. There we go. Now I'm going to get into some greens again. We have a grassy area here. There we go. I think my face is getting frozen. There we go. I'm going to hit some of this. All right, so the background, I'm going to add a little sky color because it is lighter back there. And I'm just going to go up and down, left to right. I don't want the same pattern all the way across. Want to keep it interesting. Some of those colors I've already got down. I want to kind of like, lack of a technical term, I want to dance around them. How's that? There we go. I'd like to have some of that dark showing through. We are going right across the roof there. I think that roof line is a hair high. So we're going to knock it down with the trees here. These are actually going to be some trees in the foreground. There we go. One thing I like to do is when I'm doing distant trees, scrub, push up. But I just do not want that same pattern. There we go. Now I'm going to hit some trees in the foreground here. There we go. Bounce back to the trees in the background. There we go. Just like that. All this area right here is really dark. There we go, keep that there. So we got some different variations in color. I like that. We don't want it look at all. We don't want it to look the same because then that'd be boring, right? There we go. All right. So my other brush, I'm going to go ahead and block in some that distant grass. It's running back here. Okay, and then the grass up front, I'm going to keep same color on my brush. Has this orangish. It is winter, so it does have a little orange tint to it. And I like to have different colors, some of the other colors popping through here. Now, I'm going to go back to my big brush. I'm going to have some dark green, so I'm going to add some blue. One thing is, the reason I like to use black is it makes a great dark color. Makes an excellent, like a army green kind of color. There we go. So these are trees in the distance here. Add a little blue, a little sky color, it's in everything. There we go. All right. And we're just blocking in color right now at this point. So on the edge of the water, there's like a different shade of variation of green. It's darker where the water meets. You can kind of push that up a little bit. There we go. I'm going to pull some of this down. Because I do want to hit that up with a darker color. But let's move on. Going to finish this water up here with our round brush, a little smaller. I'm going to add a little bit more sky color to it. And see if we can't clean up the edge here. Get right in between there. There's nothing like being out painting plein air. I love my studio work, but being outdoors, painting, that's what I love to do. Love to do. So as it's getting closer to me, it's a little darker. So I'm going to add some a little blue to it. Some of that ultramarine, which is a warm blue. It's a cool day, but the colors are still warm because of that bright sun. And see, this is what we're looking for right here. There's different color variations in the water. Take a step back. Like that. So, in the corner here, we have a puddle of water. And it's just interesting. And I want to make sure I use that because there's some interesting patterns here that I'm going to get to. So now I'm going to go bounce back to the building. I just mixed color up for the building here. Get all my brushes clean. Nothing like grabbing a dirty brush. You think it's clean and you're mixing colors, so I try to clean as I go. Also got my scraping tool here, so I'm gonna go ahead and fix this line across the roof here. Come back with that darker. All right, so right here, I'm gonna go ahead, got some blue, a little bit of black, add a little sky color, and I'm just gonna hit some of these here. Is aluminum building. Maybe a hair dark. Add some blue and some more sky color to that. And gonna scrape that up. Just like that. There we go. All right, so I think I got some good blue. Maybe a touch of that red transparent. And let me go back over this. Don't have to be exact. We're not doing an architectural rendering. That's the beauty of painting. Yep. And so the window there, just kind of scrub in a darker blue, shadowy color. Actually, I'm gonna get my brush to do that. Do not like that color at all. I'm gonna wipe it out. There we go. I like to go something a little darker. I remind myself to use my liquid. That window is dark. There we go, just like that. Add a little blue to that. Hit the shadow here, right there. I'm gonna go back over and add some rust color to this. Go. I guess at this point I'm just going to continue. There we go. With the brush. And we also have the rooftop. Try and keep even spacing on this. If it's not perfect, it's okay. It's just a painting, right? I'm gonna go back in. I got mud, so let me clean my brush. I may use that mud later on. We will figure that out as we go. But I definitely want to hit the roof up. I want to go back in between these lines I put in. I just love when all these colors start to come together here. This part here is just a hair too bright. That should be in shadow. There we go. That. Now the bottom, we do have like a concrete running there. And then we also have the same on the front side. So I'm gonna grab some of that concrete color. It'll run like that. And I'm gonna scratch in some color here. Clean up this edge right here. It's what's making it pop right there. Yeah. Liking the way it's looking so far. All right, I'm gonna go back in the dark. Now I'm gonna start hitting some, feel like I'm good on the blocking in. Now we're gonna start getting a little details. And I definitely wanna hit some darks on the tops to make these trees here right above the top of the roof, just to make that pop a little bit. don't want it to be a straight line, so I'm gonna mix it a little bit. May have gone a little too tall on that, but that's all right. I like it. Here we go, hitting the edges. Then when I see these, there's little gaps here, I want to hit some dark color on that. Adds a little bit of interest. Remember, don't want to do the same thing. You want to bounce around with it, just like you're dancing. There we go. These trees are way off in the distance there. Now the trees in the foreground on the bottom of them are really dark. So with me mixing the yellow into that, I have like a real dark army green color that I am going to hit this line here with. I'm not sure, but they may have shot Peanut Butter Falcon right there. If you ever seen that movie, that's a good movie. I really enjoyed that. That was shot out here. A lot of movies shot out here. I even think they did some of The Walking Dead out here. That's my wife's favorite TV show. Not really, just kidding. All right, now I want to get some of the little dark brown, so I'm gonna add some brown to that mixture. Hit this edge right there. Keep it interesting. Just don't make it a solid line. There we go. I think we got a military helicopter flying over us. How's that? All right. I think I'm going to scratch a little more shadow color in here. I'm going to add a little brown to this. Kind of clean this up a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to take this fine brush right here, little finishing brush, and something happened. That brush was dirty. It's okay. I want to hit like the edge of this with those dark colors. Like a little support beam there. That's a little too black. I'm gonna add some brown to that. Actually don't like that at all. Let's scratch it out. Maybe I can blend it down this side here. Something like that. There you go. I'll paint back over that. Drop my brush. All right, let's look at these pillars here. Here, there. Make sure we get the shadows on these. There. Go. And it is cold out here. Cold, cold. And continue that down here. Some interesting things going on. This beam is probably a little thicker. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and hit that. Like, there we go. Dark colors are really making it pop. There we go. It's like the edge of that is pretty rough. There's a little crack there with the shadow. The shadow moved on us. It was here. If you look, it's gone the other way now. It's got these little cracks. There's a big gapping one right here. If you're a skateboarder, I bet you could ollie over that. That's something else we'll talk about later on. It's all broken sidewalk. There we go, take it back, take a step back here. Okay, so now I'm gonna kind of come in and clean up around the edges of the concrete here. You just keep going side to side of your water, just keep working it. It's oil paint, and it will come together nicely for you. Look like moving water. Gotta clean the edges up a little bit. Bounce around, get some sky color in there. Especially around these pillars, that'll help them pop out. It's almost like jazz. There you go. And I do like to have the water really bright right here. Just like that area right there to pop. There we go. Now, remember we made that green for the pillars. We need to add a highlight to the other side of those pillars. And that's what we are going to do now. I'm going to use some of that unbleached titanium. I tried to use a whole lot of white, but I'm going to add just a little bit. White makes your colors pasty, but sometimes you just got to use it. There we go. There is a sign on this post, so I'm going to paint that in. There we go. Those little highlights make it come together. We're going to get a little bit here where the sun's popping through. Maybe a little bit there. Not on that one, but a little bit here. Okay. So like I said, there's a little sign on this one post. I look for little things that I can add interest. So there's a little sign. Let's just go ahead, get that in. Got some of this black, so I'm gonna go ahead and use that up. So with my palette knife, got too many brushes in my hands. I tend to do that. Especially if I'm working dark to light, I'll have one brush with my brights and one brush with my darks. But we are trying to get this done at a good pace for you. So now I'm going to come back. I'm going to hit some of this rust that's in here. Make me a rust color. Got to keep it in the shadow, so add a little blue to that. I'm just going to drag it up and down. There's like a little seam there. Go. Finishing with a palette knife is a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I'm going to knock down. It's a little too bright and happy, so I'm just going to drag some of this gray color over it. Okay. Right here is a panel, so I'm just going to kind of block that in right there. So I got a little rubber tool here. This window has some panels and panes, so I'm going to go ahead and get that. So this is why I like tinning the canvas, because now I can add some of these details just by scraping, and there's color underneath that is pretty close to what I need. And it's subtle, but it's just every little bit. It just makes for an interesting painting, and that's what we want. It looks like there's just some shadows in the back, so I'm just going to scratch that in. There's like an edge right here. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to hit this here. A little too rusty there. Brighten that. I like that. And the building is still a little red, so I'm going to make a tin color. I already have some. That sky color works really well. Blend that in. There you go. I like that. It's almost like building a house. You're just building it up, little at a time. If you go in between lines, that's all right, because guess what we can do? We can scratch that out. There we go. And that's exactly what I'm doing. See? Just like that. Okay. Now the one thing I do want to do is get this edge where the water and the concrete are. This old concrete, boy, stories they could tell, huh? The fleets of ships bringing in shrimp and fishing out on the water all day. There we go. Don't want it all to be the same color, so keep it interesting. We'll have some variations of that concrete color. So when I'm painting and I'm out by myself, this is what's rambling through my head. All the different things I want to do. So I need a highlight right here on the beam. Something a little brighter. There we go. It's really starting to come together. And I look for areas that I can have contrast. So this little area here where the concrete meets the shading, part where the pillars are underneath. I like that. So I make sure I get a good little pop of color there. I'm gonna add some of this red, translucent red, transparent red. Make this pop a little bit. And then get the edge of this water right here leading to the pier. Little sparkles underneath, reflecting. There you go. Okay, going to take a step back here. Looking at some of the finishing touches I can do. So the one thing I like, come through here, is there's some reflections in this pond right here. And I find that fascinating, so I'm gonna paint it. It's subtle, but I like it. So the one thing about shadowing, it's the reverse in value. So if it's darker before the water, it'll be a little bit lighter in the water. If it's lighter, it will be lighter. It'll be a little bit darker in the water. It's reverse. There you go. So I'm gonna keep that. Not gonna get a whole lot in here, but I do like this and wanna get it in. I think it's starting to warm up. Feels good, like that. All right, so now I'm just gonna scratch in some highlights in the grass here. A lot of times I see people, they try to paint every blade of grass, and it don't look very well. If you just try to drag it along and you get some colors and you have a good base, that will pop. Now, take a step back. I'm looking at the mid-level where the grass is. I'm gonna say here's a little more bluer, right where the edge. Yeah, I like that. Get some variations. All right. Now, you know, I like finishing with a palette knife, and so that's what we're going to do. Palette knife adds some nice, interesting texture, some fine detail you may not know is there. You could have, you know, one artist used to call them happy accidents, and that is true. So let me see if I can scratch some in here. Get that edge really good. And some people, when they buy paintings, they like to see a little bit of chunk in the painting, so it doesn't hurt to have some texture in your painting. There we go, just cleaning these edges up, creating some interest. We use that word a lot, don't we? Creating interest, creating wonder. You do an art show and you're talking to people, is they wonder what you were doing. How did you create that interest? Sometimes it's just a little drag of a palette knife, and sometimes it's just a fat swoosh of a brush. You never know. Right on the edge here of the pier, it's like there's some metal there. I'm just go ahead and scrape in an edge there. I like that. That's sharpening that up. There you go. It's coming together. I like it. I like it, I like it. Don't like that. So let me add some dark blue there. That shadow color. You just get to the point your palette has so many colors in it. Get the brush and brush that out a little bit. I like more of a blue in that shadow. There you go. Something like that. There is a little light fixture here. I'm just going to pop that and take some white and pop a little light on the bottom. It's just an indication of a light. Here's a little bit of a seam of off-white right on the edge here that interests me. So I'm going to pop that in. A little bit of white on the edge here, like that. Take an old white. And we are in the home stretch here. So now I look at, there's some interesting things. We got some rocks down here. That's too dark, so I need to brighten that up. I got a lot of good muddy colors here that I can make some rocks with. I like all the different, there's just things going on here. Go. Here. Had some interest in the concrete here. That's one thing. There's a lot of interest in this old concrete. Scratch it in. So I like ice stoppers. That's where I kind of get darker on the edges. So I'm going to make that a little darker there. A little bit on the bottom here. Grass here, I'm gonna pop a little yellow in. There you go, like that. These are just the little finishing touches. So I got a decision to make here. Right at the edge of the building, there is a bush. Is it a weed? Is it a bush? I think I'm gonna go ahead and put it in. So I'm gonna scrape some of this paint off. Right here. And I'm not even going to use a brush. I'm just going to block in some green here. And these are colors that we made with a limited palette. I liked what we call I like what we call guest colors, so we had some guest colors in here today. I love that teal on these winter days. A little bit of weedy things going on there. Now there is a iron fence there, but I'm not going to put that in. Go something like that. I'm just going to drag some highlight the grassy area here. There we go. I do like this to be a little bit darker. I like what they call eye stoppers, and also a place to where it'd be a good place to sign your name. That's got to be a thought. People want to know who painted this. Get a little darker green in here. It is a crisp, happy day, no doubt. And so I'm just popping in some random green colors, having it all come together here. A darker green on that. Right on the edge there. We are almost done. What do I see? What do I see? I want a little bit more highlight, or a couple. I want to fill a little bit more on the concrete there. A little bit more brighter in here. Yep, don't like that. I think I could blend it in. There you go, just like that. Yep. And what I am gonna do is put two little lovebirds in the sky over here. You can put them in your painting. I like to put them in my painting. It's for me and my wife. Two little lovebirds. 30 years of marriage, here we are. How's that? She kept me around. There we go. There's got to be a base to that, right? To those bushes. Right here. Take a quick look here. I think at this point we are done. I just see one thing on the roof I want to bring it down a little bit. And one other thing I want to do. Well, I got this. I want to get a little orange, a greeny orange color, and just hit a couple little color variation out here in the trees. All right, and with that, I'm going to sign my name with my rubber tip here. And we're going to call that finished. I hope you learned a little bit today. There's something you can take with you on your next plein air adventure. My name is Michael Mills, and this is Painting with Michael Mills, and from Thunderbolt, Georgia. Thank you for joining me today. Have a great day, y'all. Bye-bye.